Select Board meeting for Monday, October 21st, 2024. We're going to get right into it. We ready?
Ready.
So, we have some announcements. Karen, you always give me the announcements,
I do.
but then I say, Karen, why don't you tell us what the announcements are?
So the announcements are that we have an upcoming state election, again, in case anyone hasn't been paying attention.
What,
It's
there's an
also the
election?
presidential election. That will be on November 5th, 2024. However, we
Karen.
currently have,
4 inches from the mic.
oh, I'm not close enough.
New directive here,
Oh, boy.
4 inches.
4 inches. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So the state election, again, will be on Tuesday, November 25th,
Fourth.
November 5th, 2024, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. here at the Veterans Memorial Building in the gym. There's a sample election ballot on the town website, and also we currently have early voting going on. It started this past Saturday, and people have been voting fast and furious. So come on down. If you want any other information, again, on the website. And I guess the next one is that we also have some town meetings coming up. Our annual town meeting is a little late this year. It's on Tuesday, November 19th, starting at 7:30 p.m. We also have a special town meeting that is the same night, also starting at 7:30 p.m. So we will start them both. We will recess one and continue on, and then go back to the original town meeting. If that makes sense.
It does.
Yes.
We good?
I
I have
think
one
so.
more.
Go.
I
Go
always
ahead.
have one
You
more.
always have one.
This Saturday, there's a couple things going
Okay.
on. From 10 to 3, I believe, there's going to be a holiday bazaar at the Millis Middle High School, put on by the Millis Lions. I will be there. And there's also going to be a Touch a Truck event from, I believe, 1 to 3 at the town hall. So hitting both of those events might be good, and you can trick or treat at the vendor tables at the holiday bazaar as well.
And you
So,
can stop by and vote, because there will be early voting going on the same day, so you can
Look
touch a
at that.
truck and vote.
Yep.
So this is all this Saturday?
This Saturday, the
This Saturday.
26th.
Day, big day.
Yes.
Big day.
Don't leave town, people. Okay. Is that it for the announcements?
That's it.
Okay. So we have Mr. Weiss here to talk to us about the approval and the award of the Climate Action Plan contract.
To begin with, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Bob Weiss, Millis Economic Development and Planning Director. The first item I want to talk about is the Climate Action Plan for the town. We, as you may know, received a $60,000 grant from the Commonwealth Compact to conduct one of their best practices, which is a climate action plan, which will help Millis align with the state's climate action plan to achieve net zero energy by 2050. The economic development, that's next. The Millis Energy Committee went through a long process to create an RFP. We got 6 returns on that. We interviewed, or the committee interviewed 3 candidates and chose Weston and Sampson because of their qualifications on previous climate action plans for towns around the area. They also are very much involved in the local regional planning for climate action, and they have very deep resources. We do not have the contract today. We are still working on the contract. I will bring it into you for signing as soon as it is done.
Okay, very exciting. I'm the liaison to the Energy Board, so I've been privy to all of these negotiations, and very exciting that we're getting this done, and it's not costing the town anything. We should always open with that. It is
Yes.
not costing the town anything. We got a grant, and it's good. And they're a local company, which is one of the reasons you picked them.
Yes, yes, and I did mention at the beginning, $60,000 grant.
Yes,
And
nice.
they came in under that, so
Oh, good.
Believe
So
me.
we all go out to dinner after.
No,
No,
we're
we
not
don't.
allowed to.
Oh,
There's
we
an
don't do
ethics thing
that?
you signed.
Okay, never mind.
That's okay. The difference is less than $50.
We'll go out for a cheap dinner.
I don't eat that much, by the way, so I think I could sneak under the.
As long as we don't order appetizers, we're probably okay.
All right, very good, Bob. The next piece on the agenda is you again.
Yes. As you are aware, we have an affordable housing program here. Affordable housing development here has reached a point where we can now suspend, at least for a couple of years, we hope, 40B developments in town. We have 79 new units in the pipeline, 79 new units of affordable housing. That comes to over 2% of our total housing stock in the town. So that means we can apply to the Office of the EOHLC, and formerly Department of Housing and Community Development, and ask for certification. You have the letter there to Secretary Augustus, and I ask that the board approve the letter and approve the chair to sign the letter, and we'll send it on to Secretary Augustus.
Okay, so for people that don't know what this means that we've achieved a level of affordable housing relative to the housing stock that allows us now to be placed into a safe harbor program, correct?
That is correct.
For 2 years, which means that if somebody comes before us for a 40B, we're not at the mercy of that person because we've satisfied our numbers. And we can always go forward with it, or we can say, you know what, we're good. So it's very exciting. A lot of towns never reach this, and we did it, so I'm very proud of that.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
What's our total percentage? This is, we've gotten 1% or 2% in a short period of time, so that's our
Right.
safe harbor.
It would, we have now, if all these come through.
Yeah.
These have to stay in the pipeline, but once they do come through, we will have 6.4%. That means 6.4% of our total housing stock is affordable to families who are at 80% of the area's median income or less.
Okay. And what's is the number like 6%? Is it like, I mean, what is it? Do you know?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now, the number is officially about 3.4%.
But with all the new ones? that
But with
we-
all the new ones, it'll be at 6.2%.
But what do
Okay.
they require?
Required is 10%.
But it's the fact we're adding these within we're growing fast enough.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not that we've hit the target, but we are growing fast enough.
Right, that is
Right.
correct.
Yeah,
Awesome.
okay.
All good. Okay. Are you on,
We need a motion.
Yes.
do.
I move that the board approve and authorize the chair to sign the letter requesting certification of compliance of the town's housing production plan.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
One more.
One more. There's,
One more.
come on.
One more.
Wow. We're not going to get out of here.
Not if you keep this up.
Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, as you know, the town received a $170,000 earmark from the Chapter 168 Act of 2022 to develop a business improvement district. That is the scope that we had applied for, and we have had change of scope. I would like to introduce the Chair of the Economic Development Committee, Nicole Riley, who will give you some of the details.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bob. Good evening, Nicole Riley, sorry, it's been a long day. 258 Village Street, Chair of the Economic Development Committee. As Bob stated, we did receive this grant to initiate a business improvement district. We have been discussing the terms of the RFP. Several members were speaking to, one of the things we were looking at potentially was the development of a business association but that would have to be eventually taken over by the members, the private members of business. And some of the members of our committee, when speaking to some business members, not really sure that there's a whole lot of interest in that in town. In the meantime, with the help of two of our members of the select board, we have found some development websites from other towns that assist new businesses, or actually existing businesses coming in and growing. Bob has submit a request to the board that we received the grant from to change our scope so that part of this new business development and improvement district would include a development of a document, a website that would help businesses coming in from start to finish. 2 years ago, the planning board did work with our engineer, and we developed a spreadsheet, really a flow chart for what was needed for new businesses as far as permitting is concerned. But that really only goes for the planning board and the conservation commission. It doesn't address if you want to open a restaurant, what steps you have to go through. It doesn't address if you need a liquor license, what steps you have to go through. It doesn't provide you any information as to what resources does Millis already have. If you want to open a pizza place, there are half a dozen other pizza places in town. Maybe you want to know that before you come in and decide you want to start your pizza business. So we are looking to incorporate this plan, this website that would be interactive, that we could easily update, that would provide a new business owner or a business owner that's looking to grow, to expand, to know what the steps are, know what businesses are already in town, anybody that's looking to come and do business in Millis. Okay, what businesses do you have? Something that would really provide a lot of information in a relatively small package. So we are in the process of putting together the RFP. Hopefully we will have that out in the next month or so, to find out from the businesses in town, again, is there an appetite for starting some sort of organization, but also incorporating this new document and/or website, depending upon what the costs are and what money is involved, so that we can go forward with that and make Millis more easily accessible, as opposed to trying to call the planning department, the building department, the conservation department, the town clerk's office, the town administrator's office, and trying to gather, and especially for a new business owner that may not even know what questions to ask. So that's where we stand right now.
So this is to ask for that shift in the way you can use the money.
This is just an update.
Oh, okay.
This is, Bob has already requested from the granting authority
Okay.
to change our scope of what we originally applied for, was just for the business improvement district. And now we have changed our scope with them to include the incorporation of this website and/or printed document.
Any questions?
Just one, and just to make it painfully obvious, this is an attempt by the Select Board and the Economic Development Committee to bring more commercial into Millis.
Correct,
Thank you.
correct.
We've been accused of not doing that.
Yes, I want to say that this is something, Medway has something like this. A lot of towns have something like this. It's basically a roadmap for people that come in. They identify, hey, Millis is a nice town to locate in, and it helps people, even if they have 6 restaurants all over the state, or the person that's never opened anything in their life, to navigate how to successfully open a business in Millis.
Correct.
And it's, I think it's, if you get the switch in the funding, I think it's incredibly valuable, because people don't know. People
Yeah.
don't know, they don't know what we have, they don't know the zoning, it's just, it's a roadmap, almost like what we're doing for the Energy Commission. It's a roadmap that directs you, okay, if I get to this part, what's my next?
Because even if you
Wonderful.
are the individual that has 6 restaurants and you own the 6 properties in 6 different communities,
Yeah.
every community is a little different.
That's right.
Who do you go to? How many, some larger communities, if you go into a large city, they have a planner that you go to, and the planner, that individual can walk you step by step. Our planner, unfortunately for Mr. Weiss, wears 17 hats in this building. So he's not capable, he doesn't really have the ability to sit down and hold a business owner's hand and walk through that. So this is something that, as you said, we are seeing in smaller communities that don't have a whole planning department, come in and be able to provide people that
Yeah.
hand-holding. And what may fall under one department in Millis may fall under a different department in another town. So even though a experienced business owner knows, I need an attorney, I need an engineer, I need an architect, you need an expert for each town that you go into, and this will provide that initial expert advice.
Right, and most importantly, it will be, just for having created it, it's welcoming.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So that's the most important thing.
because our
It's
assumption is, once it's on a website, it, in a way, we'll be able to photocopy it, or someone could photocopy it off the website. But having it as a website that we could update, here's the name, number, and email for our town administrator. Here's the name, number, and email for our, our planning board. And it's something that we will easily, and that's one of the things we're going to put into this RFP, is it has to be something that is easily updatable, that it's not going to be a stagnant document that the day after it's published, in effect, is outdated.
Right. Awesome.
It's very exciting.
It
And I will
is.
say, because Ed and Bob knows, how many times do people walk into our office and they say, I'm just not sure where to go, and do you know if I need other permits? And honestly, like, we're all happy to help, but you're right, it's very hard to say, okay, well, send me an email, I'll CC all the people who might be involved in this. I mean, this is fantastic. I'm very excited about this. I think it's great.
Okay. But this is a no motion?
No.
motion.
Nope, this is
Ooh,
it.
I
This
like
is-
that. It's a no motion.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Okay, we have a hearing at 7:15.
Yep, if you want to.
I move that the board open the hearing to consider the application for a wine and malt license at Alpaca Food Mart, 1105 to 1115 Main Street.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The hearing's open.
So I can speak to this. So the new owners of Alpaca Food Mart, which is OM, I don't know if they say OM or OM Millis Oil Incorporated, submitted an application to start selling wine and malt, or wine and beer, basically, at the gas station. And we do have licenses available, so we went through the process, only to find out that one of the pieces that you do when someone applies for an alcohol license is to send out abutters notices. Well, one of our abutters came in and said, hey, they can't sell wine and malt. So we found the information. Their lawyer had not told them, since it had changed hands. But there is a covenant in place for 1105 to 1115 Main Street, which strictly prohibits the sale of any alcoholic beverages, and that is for a period of at least 10 years, and that started in 2019. So you are not able to approve this license, unfortunately. I sent this back to the lawyer, so they have the information for that. And this actually continues, at first, they thought that this was only for the original owners, but no, it's for all successors, assigns, and transferees. So it's a
Okay.
no-go, unfortunately, so you can actually close the hearing and deny the license at this time.
I move that the board close the hearing to consider the application for a wine and malt license at Alpaca Food Mart, 1105 to 1115 Main Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
I move that the board does not approve the application for a wine and malt license at Alpaca Food Mart, 1105 to 1115 Main Street.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, see you in 2029.
Yes,
That sound right?
yes,
Maybe.
maybe.
Okay.
Thank you.
Contract for well 3.
Excellent.
Mr. McKay. Get up here.
That
Someday.
regulation that you've just voted on, you can thank that on the nice, good planning board that we have.
Thank you for the
'Cause-
good planning board
Because
that you have.
we enforced that, and it was in our decision. So, well 3, we would, you have the
Covenant, yeah.
packets? Do you have
Yes.
everything?
Yep.
I don't know what you really would like me to go over the bid. The low bid was Winston
there.
Building. Yeah,
Start with the
that's-
low bid.
Any grants? Start with grants.
Not yet,
All
but
right.
you'll hear more later
Good.
on that. Winston Builders also built wells 1 and 2, so we're very happy with that they were the low bidder. The low bidder was $6,380,889. If you remember, last November, we appropriated $7.1 million for this project. And there's a breakdown of the cost between that and the engineering costs, and it only left us with $86,000. We don't want to talk about that yet, right? Is that coming?
That's on the,
All right, I'll come
it's
back
on
to
the
that.
warrant.
So I guess, should we, yeah,
Yeah, if you want to touch upon that.
Yeah, I think it's safe.
yeah, okay. So we are requesting right now, if we go with the 7.1 million, we're looking at $86,000 in a contingency fund. And you all know that you can't build a building with a contingency of $86,000. So we will have an article, or we're requesting an article be placed on the ballot with, bringing up to right around 4.5%, 5%. We're looking for $253,167, which we
And
coming
that's
up later.
Article 8 of the fall annual town meeting warrant. It's $253,167
Okay.
in supplemental funding. It's a borrowing authorization.
So I would ask that you, I believe it would be the town administrator signing this contract with Winston Builders. First, you have to approve it and allow him to, where it's such a large amount. And like I said, they built the wells 1 and 2, so we've done all the background checks and everything else on them. Well 3, for the people that don't know where it is, it's off of Village Street. It's well into the woods. It's way in there, and this building will be almost the same design that wells 1 and 2 are, but a little bit smaller.
Any comments?
No.
Me neither. We ready for this?
Yes.
Okay.
I move that the board approve and enter into a contract in response to the bid submitted by Winston Builders of Westboro, Massachusetts on October 2nd, 2024, for the Village Street Water Treatment Plant PFAS upgrades in an amount of $6,380,889,
And to authorize the town administrator to sign on the town's behalf.
and to authorize the town administrator to sign on the town's behalf.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
Great. And we're looking to get this, once this is approved, rolling.
Will it be about a year of construction from approval?
Just about, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what would happen with wells 1 and 2.
That's
And
what I was basing
this
it on.
one is a little more difficult because we have to demolition all 3 buildings that are down there and rebuild them in place.
Where is this on Village Street exactly?
So you know where I hate to use people's name, you know the Whalen property?
Yes,
In the
I
Whalen,
do
so you
know.
use that road. That's, just like at well 4, we have an easement
Okay.
granted through the Whalens that we enter it, and it's like 2.5 miles, maybe 1.5 miles into the woods.
Okay,
It's way in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
okay.
Great.
Okay, very good.
I'll wait around for the other thing.
Okay, what do we got? The
The
contract?
annual audit.
The annual audit.
So, Madam Chair,
Go.
I'm requesting that the board approve a one-year contract with Markham Accountants and Advisors of Merrimack, New Hampshire for an audit not to exceed $65,000 to conduct the FY24 annual audit and to authorize the town administrator to sign on the town's behalf.
I move that the board approve and enter into a contract with Markham Accountants and Advisors LLP of Merrimack, New Hampshire, for a not-to-exceed amount of $65,000 for the fiscal year '24 annual audit, and authorize the town administrator to sign on the town's behalf.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
Thank you.
Next.
So, Madam Chair, in the
Yep.
board's packet, had the draft warrant for the special town meeting, which is scheduled to be held at 7:30, as mentioned earlier, on November 19th. There is only one article on that warrant, and it is connected with the Prop 2.5 override ballot question, which is on the ballot of November 5th. And as I had mentioned at your last meeting, I am recommending that for the appropriation article, it be equal to 50% of the ballot question, which would fund those expenses in the second half of the fiscal year, of the current fiscal year.
Okay,
So, unless there's any questions, I'm recommending that the board approve and sign the special town meeting warrant for November 19th, 2024.
any questions? Okay, go.
I move that the board approve and sign the November 19th, 2024 special town meeting warrant as written.
Second. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Madam Chair, now this is the main event. In your packet is the warrant, draft warrant for the fall annual town meeting. Just a couple notes I'd like to make on that from your last meeting. At your last meeting, you had voted to remove one article, and that was the stabilization fund, to defer that until the spring annual town meeting. I'm also recommending this evening that the board remove the article for funding of the 111F account, and that be deferred until the spring annual town meeting as well, since that account is still, has a balance of over 200,000 in that, and I think we're in good shape to get to the spring town meeting. And the only other item or change of note I'd want to make the board aware of is on Article 13, which is actually a zoning article.
Yep.
This article, there was some confusion, but this article actually would need to go to the planning board for their review and to come back to the board. So I am recommending that the board refer that to the planning board in the hopes that they could complete that process in time for town meeting. So I would be asking for that vote this evening.
Okay, can you explain for our viewing public what this article is?
So Article
13,
Article 13.
parking and loading lot. You said this was
Yes.
required by some
Yes,
organization?
the Department of Environmental Protection, as part of our as part of their regulations, required us to make some changes to this. And they'd asked us to have this in place by December 31st. So that's why we've been
Do you guys
rushing.
know about this? Huh?
Yeah,
Hold on,
that's why we've been rushing to get this on the
Come up
warrant.
and explain this to me,
A
will
little
you?
faster than we
Okay.
usually do.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Mr. McKay, who was
Just to add what
working on
Mike
this,
Mike explained it
discuss it.
perfectly right.
Go.
It's a part of our MS4 permit. And it's,
Okay.
actually, it's still, we're non-conforming right now. It should have been taken care of in May. But we're, so far ahead of most communities, we felt that we'd be able to push it off here. And during our discussion through this whole process, we never felt that it was, you're the enterprise committee chairs of the Stormwater Committee. And we just felt that it was going to be a review and that you were just going to enact it. So we did send this out to the planning board, reviewed it a couple of times. The Conservation Commission and the Board of Health, everybody has looked at it and commented. The Enterprise Committee reviewed it and came back to the board. You accepted it. now we're, town council, town council's town council, and he told us that this would have to go through the process of going back, referred back to the planning board, and we'd have to have a public hearing on it. And we did speak to Camille today, and the chair is aware of it. Camille and just found about it today, and Nicole knew nothing about it until she just turned her head and said, wait a minute. But
So
she
if
believes
you-
we can get it done.
Yeah, if the board votes to refer
Right.
this
You
today,
can get it
I
done.
believe the
believes so.
planning
The
board
12th
has a
is-
meeting on the 12th of
Okay.
November, and they could have a hearing at that meeting, and hopefully finish that end of the process, and if that's the case, then town meeting could act on this.
And you would
at
vote on
November
it to
19th.
accept it on the night
So you
of the
could
town
vote to
meeting.
actually accept it, literally the meeting right before the town meeting. You could vote
Okay.
to accept it.
All right, thanks. Do we have a motion for this?
We
So-
do not. That's
We-
how recent this development
Oh,
We still haven't opened the warrant, though. Should we do that?
is. Yes, so I'd ask the board at this time to open the warrant.
Okay. I move that the board open the November 19th, 2024 Fall Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
I move that the board remove Article 17, the Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 111F, Injury Leave Indemnity Fund.
Second. And there's like 290,000 almost in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the goal was to keep it at 300. It seems silly to fund it for $9,000 right now. Right now, we can come back and fund it
Okay,
for the true balance at the next town meeting.
okay. We have a second on her motion?
I
Yep.
said second, and
Did
then
you say second?
then I elaborated.
The elaboration is what threw me off.
Wanted to
it's
get it
been-
in before you voted it.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And
Since
at
you
this
skipped
time,
discussion.
yes, so I guess I would just ask if the board is comfortable with referring Article 13 to the
Planning board.
planning board, then I'd recommend at this time the board vote to refer Article 13 to the planning board.
Okay,
I move that we refer Article 13, which is amendments to general bylaws, Article 8, off-street parking and loading regulations, to the planning board.
Second.
It's
Jim was
been
doing
moved and
something back
seconded.
there. I
All
didn't know
those
if
in
he was-
favor?
Sorry,
Aye.
Jim, do you have
Aye.
something to add?
Not on that, but don't we still have to do the money?
Well, that's actually the, yes, we'll get to that article
Yeah,
next.
we're just cleaning
So,
up.
thank you for
Oh,
that.
wait,
And-
hold on. Did we all vote?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
aye, unanimous to refer it back to the planning board.
And Madam Chair, then I just want to let the board know that the amount of Article 8 changed. I think originally we had 500,000 in
Yeah.
there. So that amount would be reduced to $253,167 for additional borrowing authorization for the PFAS plant at well number 3.
So is that a motion?
If someone says so moved.
So moved.
Even
Second.
better. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you. I believe those are all the changes of note since your last meeting. There might be some small formatting changes and such, but nothing of substance.
I have a
Jim, are
question
you
about
here for
roads.
something else more? Oh, the money. Never mind.
I got one question for Jim.
Yes.
Do we know anything about the 109 funding yet? I just saw roads on here as I was leafing through.
So, we filled out a questionnaire.
That's a
I filled it
step
out in Mike's
forward.
name, that's, we were surprised, it just came out of the blue. So, we are gonna have, we're paying off this year's bills, which came in lower
Yeah.
than we expected. So we will have money left that we'll be able to go out and skim coat, the two sections in front of Hockey's and in front of Ellen's building. We'll try to put a skim coat down on top of it. And we're hoping, they're telling us next year, it says FY '25, but that doesn't mean they won't push it off till FY '26. So FY '25 has got to be done either in the fall or the spring of next year.
So theoretically, based on that, they should have it done by the end of June
But,
Yeah.
next year.
All right, well, thank you.
yes.
Thanks.
And I will be back with the, because there was money left over, and it's exciting to see that $500,000 amount on there.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. All right.
Yep.
And then, sorry about this being precise about the money, but we're following government contracts now. If we could have they're telling us, the SRF grant told us that we could not ask for the 500 and something. We wanted the 500 and something, but they said they wouldn't
Yeah.
give us that percentage of, so.
They
That's
limit
why-
us to the 5% contingency.
Yeah, instead of
Yeah.
what we really wanted to put them. Okay, thank you.
Okay, what do we got?
So, I'm sorry, you have a question, Craig?
No, I'm done. That was it. I was just curious about the,
So, Madam Chair, unless there's any questions, comments, concerns, I would ask at this time that the board vote to approve and sign the fall annual town meeting warrant of November 19th, 2024, as amended.
I move that the board close the November 19th, 2024 Fall Annual Town Meeting warrant.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
I move that the board approve and sign the November 19th, 2024 Fall Annual Town Meeting warrant as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Is that it?
Board
On the
and
warrant.
liaison
That's it on the
updates.
warrants.
Updates, what, no, we have
Liaison.
draft minutes or liaison?
Those are liaison updates first.
Okay, anybody?
I went, go ahead.
Nope.
Oh, I went to the Capital Planning Committee, the CPC, not the Community Preservation Committee, but the Capital Planning Committee. And we came up with a list of 6 items. They're all in the warrant, $704,000, which for some reason I thought was higher, but it's not. We've fixed the math. They're going to come in and do a presentation, but I believe we have funds for all of them, and it looks reasonable as a list, so.
So I believe in discussions at the last meeting, the chair, Mr. Barry, was going to come in at your meeting on November 4th to give the report for the fall annual town meeting for the capital committee.
Yeah, and I think everything on there is pretty self-explanatory, but he can give a lot more detail on it. But I don't have any problem with all 6 of them staying on the warrant.
Okay, you good?
I'm good.
That was your liaison?
And I went to the tri-board.
I know, that was on, not for nothing, but that was on my list too, and I'm not sure it counts. But go ahead, you go first.
No, I'm not going to say anything, because I think it doesn't count, but go ahead.
Killing me. Well, you didn't even go.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to these
So
updates.
maybe it does count.
So it does count.
It was a really good meeting. Agreed?
Yeah.
I thought it was
I thought it was
re-
an excellent meeting.
It was an excellent meeting, so much so that people are commenting on what a good meeting it was. A quick question, how often, well, first of all, the tri-board meeting, for those of you who don't know, it's a meeting that is held between the select board, the school committee, and the finance committee. And my question is, how often do we hold it? Is it twice?
At least
They've
twice a
been-
year.
Yeah, it's fluctuated a bit. I've been here 7 years. I think
Yeah.
there's been maybe a year or two where we really didn't have any or had
Okay.
one. There's been other years we've had 2 or 3.
Okay.
2 is generally, I'd
Where
say,
we
the
are?
average of
Okay.
how many per year. It was actually the first meeting I attended here in Millis was a tri-board meeting, so that was a crash course in what was going on in the town of Millis.
It was,
But it brings together a lot of ideas. Sometimes there's some differences of opinions, but I think it can be a very constructive
it's really,
communication.
it's an excellent meeting.
system.
It's a real collaboration where the select board brings the school committee up on what's going on in areas maybe they don't pay attention to. They bring us what doesn't pay attention, and finance chimes in, and everybody has an opinion, and it was just really good with different ideas coming in. And we discussed various things. Just very quickly, I'm going to throw it out there because I like everybody to know what we're doing. We talked about very preliminarily, perhaps creating a parks department, which would have a piece of department in the town take care of all of the fields in Millis, whether they are used and controlled or owned by the school, the town, including sides of the roads, real maintenance of
Outdoor,
what?
outdoor
Outdoors,
landscaping, yeah.
including Oak Grove Farm and the train station and some buildings that have been not paid attention to as much as they should. Anyway, again, extremely preliminary. We learned that there's a lot of groundwork to cover, literally. Just putting together the list of who controls what, and who owns what, and who maintains what, which I hope to start after we get through our town meetings, et cetera. That was an exciting thing to talk about. We talked a little bit about the override and thoughts, and we talked about, what else did we talk about?
We talked about the override, the Parks Department, senior
Senior-
Oh,
affordable
yeah.
housing.
We've been talking about a piece of property for Millis Housing. Candace has been in a number of times with representatives from the board of Millis Housing, talking about the need for more housing to keep Millis seniors and low-income families in town. So we talked about 2 pieces of land. We talked about, we were on a Zoom call earlier with Karen and Mike and me and Candace and a board member and a couple of people from a state agency to help us navigate this process. So again, that's a little bit preliminary, not as preliminary about the Parks Department, but you'll be hearing more about that down the road.
I was
What
just
else?
going to say, and the quick note is that this is not, we were talking about 40B earlier in the meeting. This is different from 40B. This is
Different?
100% affordable housing,
Yeah, this is real affordable housing.
real affordable housing to help residents. out.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
and-
based on income and,
I believe the rent is capped at 30% of their income, whatever the
Correct.
income is. So it's not like a $2,200 a month apartment being called affordable.
right.
It's truly affordable to seniors in the community that may face difficulties and be driven
Yep.
out of the town.
And Millis residents get first crack at it,
Yeah.
which is also extremely important, because that's not necessarily the
Yeah.
case either.
Yeah, we talked about the Tri-County and the
Yep.
fact that we may have a plan to be able to use some existing of our $3.5 million of free cash to stretch that out for 3 to 5 years of not having to do any override
Yeah.
work to get it done if we manage. Potentially, it depends on enrollment,
Yeah.
it depends on a lot of things. But if enrollment stays reasonable, we might be able to go a few years without needing to talk about an override for it.
Yeah, we should, speaking of Tri-County, we should invite our rep in, Hardin, at some future, because
Yes.
they're starting now, right? Are we
They just
ready to
broke
get?
ground last week on the
Yeah.
project.
Is
I
it
think.
premature to
I
get?
would
No,
say
I'd say bring them, I've got a
maybe
question
right at
that's
the
very.
beginning of the year, or?
Yeah, I've got a very specific question about it, because I've been assuming that we're just paying the normal, and we probably don't know the answer yet, but paying the normal payment, as if it was built, if it was financed. But if it's a bond anticipation
yeah.
note, do we owe that $10 or $10,000 plus per student, or is it gonna be less? And
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I was going off their projections.
Yeah.
So, I mean, certainly we can try to find out and get an update on whether or not that is still the case, or whether or not that the bigger payments are gonna be
Yeah.
pushed out another year or
Because that
so.
makes a huge difference in how we finance and
Yeah.
everything. Because if it's just a ban and we're only paying interest on what they've spent to date, or anticipate spending next year, that's far less than
Right.
interest and principal on 210 million or whatever, 280 million, less
Yeah.
than, yeah,
Yeah.
our portion of that. So that's a question that could
Yeah.
swing it an order of magnitude on the cost,
Yep.
down from what I estimated.
And then we also talked about the,
Our project.
Yeah,
Our
middle
project.
high school.
The high school. And we talked about the potential costs, and there's multiple scenarios. We do not have a final cost, because as I said, there's multiple scenarios, but it ranges from $80 million spent over 10 years on just a code-compliant upgrade to 120 to 130 million, but the state would conceivably contribute the state would absolutely contribute at least 40% of that, which drops that cost to 78 million. So it's safe to say it's going to cost us about $80 million, no matter what we
no
do at
matter
the high
what.
school.
Yeah,
The do-nothing plan, which is fix sprinklers, replace windows, do the roof, do the bathrooms, do everything that does nothing for us except bring it up to a functional
Yeah.
school, is $80 million and is 10 years' worth of construction.
but nothing's been.
Yeah.
Nothing's been settled on. We're still sifting through. The school building committee is still sifting through 7 or 8 different scenarios. and there'll be forums, et cetera, to get everybody's
Yeah.
input, so sit tight.
Yeah.
Is that that?
I think that's that.
Other than that, I went to the, it's not a liaison, but I'm gonna say it is, because I have to beat you.
No.
I went to the Council on Aging last Thursday morning to get an update on what they were doing and give them an update on what we were doing, and so exciting down there. Well, you're there all the time, so you
Not
see.
anymore, because I work days now.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's so sad.
All right, I'm not talking to you anymore. Anyway, very exciting, Craig. Their numbers are up from 60 visits a day to over 100.
Excellent.
They're everything. They're doing trips, day trips, and short trips, and long trips, and it's just a completely exciting vibe down there. And they have a new board member from the Glen that's introduced mahjong and bridge, and it's
extremely busy all the time.
That's good.
All the
you
time,
can hear
truly.
it.
Yeah.
You can
There's
hear.
there's a room, I happened to walk outside today because it was very warm out. And I walked by the room downstairs, the new room that Ellen had really pushed, because there was a room down the end that used to be the youth room back in the day, then it was storage. We said, we need this room. The door was open. There must have been, I don't know, 10 different women in there doing the bear project. They're
Right.
building, doing these
Right.
stuffed bears. They're gonna be donating. It was like, it was unbelievable. It truly.
Right.
It's
is.
great to see life down there, a lot of life, and
It's
and
really
very,
nice.
it's exciting.
So they're excited, we're excited, everybody's excited.
Yeah.
That's all I got,
All right.
liaisons.
I'm not counting the last one. Okay.
No Charles River Pollution Control District, Ellen?
I know,
Let's not help her, okay?
listen, I don't want to be that person, but I had such a crappy day, I didn't go to it.
Ah,
Unintended.
How's that? Unattended,
yeah.
I know.
No, I said pun intended.
Oh, I didn't
Crappy
go.
day.
Oh, crappy.
Sorry.
That was good. Anywho, I blew it
Minutes.
off. I won't do that again, but I'm sure I was sorely missed. All right, so we have approval of draft minutes.
I move that the board approve the amended draft minutes from the 9/30/24 Select Board meeting as presented.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
I move that the board approve the draft minutes from the 10/7/24 Select Board meeting as written.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We